It's time for another episode of Guild Wars 2-Minute Lore. This time we'll be looking at the Flame Legion, and this is one of those topics I'm pretty sure is not going to fit in the 2-minute time range. There's quite a lot of information to cover here. The Flame Legion have actually been around and very active ever since the early days of Guild Wars 1, so this video is going to include a lot of Guild Wars 1 lore as well. The Flame Legion is often considered to be the villain faction of the Charr. In Guild Wars 2, they're the only legion that isn't united with the others. The Flame Legion is best known for their religious fanaticism and mastery of fire magic. And back in Guild Wars 1, they were the legion that was the most fleshed out and really well known to the players. They were also the legion that was able to unite the others into one military superpower. However, they only did this by force and by deceiving the other legions, which would eventually get exposed. There is a bit of a story as to how the Flame Legion got their power. The Burnt Warband would discover the Titans, which were these big fiery demon creatures. The Titans offered Burnt Warband power in exchange for worship. The Burnt Warband brought the Titans back to the rest of the Flame Legion, and then they became the first generation of Charr Flame Shamans. These shamans would act as the strict rulers of the Legion and eventually the strict rulers of all Charr. The Flame Shamans would use their enhanced fire magic to dominate the rest of the Charr into following their every command. There was actually a female Charr who tried to rebel against them early on, Bathia Havoc-bringer. She was a member of the Blood Legion. She and a few others rejected the worship of the Titans, which caused the shamans to kill her as a sacrifice to the Titans. The shamans labeled her as a heretic and then banned all other females from joining warbands or serving in combat at all. Although Bathia's efforts would eventually inspire other female Charr to fight back. More on that later. With this almost godlike power of fire magic, the shamans were able to spread out through the world and conquer more land. In fact, there are a few lore theories that the Charr might have conquered the entire world if not for the rise of the White Mantle in Kryta and the Cataclysm in Or. The Flame Legion eventually set their sights on Ascalon, and with this new power of theirs, they would summon the Searing, which was a magical spell that would rain down flaming meteors all over Ascalon, burning it all to the ground. This was done by Bonfaz Burntfur, one of the leading shamans that originally found the Titans. After the Searing, the Flame Legion looked ready to assert their dominance over the humans in Ascalon, but a few major failures would bring them down to be outcast by the other legions. The first of which was the Titans being killed. These so-called fire gods were exposed to be fake after a group of adventurers would find them and kill them. These adventurers were actually the player characters back in Guild Wars Prophecies. After the Titans were killed, the Flame Legion was desperate to find a replacement god. So at the time, Hierophant Burntsoul learned of the Great Destroyer, and he claimed that it was actually their true god. However, this would again be exposed to be false. After Pyre Fearshot and Gwen Thackeray would help the player characters kill the Great Destroyer. After that, they would march on the Flame Legion stronghold and kill Hierophant Burntsoul, leaving the Flame Legion without a leader. After Hierophant Burntsoul, there were two more Flame Legion Imperators whose names are unknown. Due to their colossal failures, even the Flame Legion has struck their names from history. The first one decided to focus his efforts on conquering Ascalon City, and he was inevitably killed in the foe fire after ignoring the warnings about the unhinged Ascalonian king Adalbern. He also had the Claw of the Con-ur in his possession at the time, so that would cause this most sacred artifact of the Charr to be lost in the ruins of Ascalon. The next Imperator was the last one before the Flame Legion was outcast. Pyre Fearshot was the one who started the rebellion by helping kill their false gods. And many years later, his granddaughter, Calla Scorchrazor, would continue his efforts. Remember in the beginning when I mentioned Bathia Havoc-bringer? Well, Calla was also inspired by her. Calla began training all the female Charr who were banned from combat, and she had them join up with the other legions who were more than happy to simply have more fighters. She then used all of them to launch an attack on the Flame Legion, in which the Flame Legion was completely overwhelmed and forced to surrender. Upon surrendering, this Flame Imperator would stab Calla with a poison dagger. Calla's allies would immediately kill the Flame Imperator for doing this, but unfortunately Calla would die to the poison shortly after. But in her dying breath, she would say, "At least I die knowing my sisters are free." After that, any Flame Legion survivors would retreat to their headquarters in the north end of Ascalon, the Citadel of Flame. And now today, the Flame Legion is still in disarray. Depending on where you are in the Guild Wars 2 story, various things may have happened and different characters might have differing opinions on the Flame Legion. The Citadel of Flame is still there up in the north end of Ascalon. They are now under the lead of a new Imperator, Geharon Balefire, who leads by force due to his immense magical power power that some say rival that of even the human gods. He has plans to ascend to godhood with the support of his fanatical followers. How he plans to ascend is unclear, although it's thought to be in a similar way that Cormyr did many centuries ago. In the Citadel of Flame dungeon story mode, you'll be tasked with confronting and fighting Geharim Balefire to stop this ascension. And there is also a splinter faction within the Flame Legion that is not loyal to Geharim Balefire. These Charr would eventually band together under the lead of Ephraim Greetsglory, who is said to be a much better leader than any of the previous Flame Imperators. I won't spoil the story that Ephraim's Flame Legion is involved in, but I will say that his goal as leader is to bring the Flame Legion back to strength and become equal again with the other legions. He doesn't deny that his people have committed some terrible atrocities in the past, but he doesn't let that define them. And I think that will bring our discussion on the Flame Legion to an end. Like I said, there's quite a lot of lore and story that they're involved in. I did my best to summarize all the important bits for you. Hopefully I didn't miss anything too major. Anyways, that'll be all for now. Thanks for watching, and if you didn't know, now you know.